Story 1. My biggest regret in life is that I chose the wrong career and spent my entire life trying to make it successful. Story 2. Drinking excessively in my 20s led me to engage in foolish behavior, waste a significant amount of time, and show disrespect toward the people I care about as well as myself. Story 3. Staying with a man for too long who was delaying marriage and starting a family, hoping to waste my time. Story 4. How much time I wasted blaming others for the problems in my life when I should have been looking in the mirror. Now I'm stuck in a difficult situation of my own making, and I don't know how to fix it. Story 5. I went to dinner with my friends instead of visiting my grandmother after she had a car accident. We thought she was okay, but a slow brain bleed overwhelmed her during the night. Story 6. Letting my ex-wife convince me not to become a marine biologist specializing in great white sharks. Story 7. Trusting my mother. Looking back, I realize I was foolish. She showed many signs over the years that I ignored. It takes time for people to understand that a parent may not always have their best interests at heart. Genetics, media, and school all teach us that our parents should be the ones we trust the most. Some parents use that trust to manipulate us, and when it's all you know, it's hard to recognize. It's not like I had another mother to compare her to. Story 8. Letting my financially abusive mother control me and not taking the $50,000 scholarship to move to a different state at 18 for college affected my life significantly. I ended up transferring to that college anyway. When I graduated, I was $45,000 in debt, and that scholarship would have left me without student loans. Story 9. Not having been tougher and setting limits with a toxic family allowed every act of cruelty to come and go, believing in the innocent way of that time that it was a different way of loving and teaching. Story 10. I should have chosen a different career path. I like my job, but I could have achieved more and earned a higher income. Story 11. Not reaching my potential in high school and college and marrying the wrong person has affected my life. I am finally getting my life in order at 45 and realizing how much time I have wasted. Story 12. I am not allowing myself to fully embrace being a young adult and a complete person before marriage and children. Now, when I develop a new interest, I find myself questioning why I need to pursue it, thinking that I didn't need it before. Story 13. Leaving my ex because of work. Sometimes you don't end up meeting someone else, and you should have stayed and prioritized love over your career when you were young. Story 14. Not getting diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and medicated while I was in school had a significant impact on my life. I received my diagnosis at 28, and everything changed rapidly afterward. Now, at 34, I own 2 businesses and earn a comfortable income. I believe I would have pursued a career in the medical field if I had been diagnosed at a younger age. Story 15. Tobacco, my friend. I didn't listen to my psychiatrist at the time, who believed I might be bipolar. Everything is fine now, but when the first episode of mania hit, it was chaotic, and it took some time to resolve certain issues. Story 16. Staying in a broken relationship for 6 years when I had the opportunity to walk away richer has cost me $3.26 million. 2 children, a family that despises me, and starting over with $150,000. Story 17. I did not join the Army immediately after being rejected by the Air Force. It took me 8 or 9 years to decide. I would be about a year away from retirement at this point. I served 3.5 years and then left. I did not play in right field and batted primarily left-handed when I participated in Little League Baseball. I had a strong throwing arm in right field, but not behind the plate. Being a catcher took a toll on my knees, but it did not prevent me from joining the Army. Story 18. Marriage. I was determined to create a new family and chose my partner poorly because I was desperate to have someone. Story 19. Actively seeking professional mental health support for complex post-traumatic stress disorder. If I had spent more time trying to heal myself on my own, I would not have ended up so deeply traumatized by a dysfunctional mental health system. Story 20. Honestly, I did not realize how financial aid works. I had a dream to go to culinary school and become a pastry chef at 18. My community college offers a culinary program, but I messed up on a cake one day at home. That discouraged me, and I decided to pursue something else. I also got into a relationship too early. I shouldn't have cared about dating until after high school, but I dated someone for 5 years, and it was an emotionally, mentally, and verbally abusive relationship. I eventually left for other reasons, but that relationship taught me a lot, as did the failure to pursue my dream. I can still do whatever I want if God is willing, and pursue whoever I want to be. Story 21. Trying to be edgy. I should have just aspired toward a normal career as a teenager, gone straight to college, secured a good job, gotten married, bought a house, and done all the usual things. Story 22. I lost my faith, and now I'm home because I experienced spiritual struggles while lacking faith in God. It's like going into battle unarmed. Regaining my faith has felt like a long, difficult, and seemingly impossible task. I envy those who remain steadfast in their faith. Story 23. Letting him into my life and spending 8 years together only to be left with trauma, trust issues, and panic attacks. Story 24. Not being strong enough to watch my dog being put to sleep is a difficult memory. One time was when I was 9, and another time was when I was 17. I comfort myself by remembering that my parents were present in those moments, but that feels like just an excuse. No other event in life comes close to this. I can't forgive myself, and I'm not sure if I should. I'm 32 now. Story 25. Not purchasing the car sooner. Remaining in an unsatisfactory job because it was easy and comfortable. Prioritizing others over yourself when they genuinely do not care about you. All those wasted years on social media. All that time spent endlessly scrolling only leads to anger and frustration. Story 26. I didn't sign up for the Air Force after college. I think 4 years would have been a significant boost to me in my mid-20s. In 1996, I was 25 years old and had just finished a Bachelor of Science in Engineering Technology with a focus on civil engineering. I also had an Associate of Applied Science in Architecture. I had some false starts, but I have a great career now with a place that I love and plan to retire from. Story 27. I regret not using my gift because I lacked confidence. My mother believed that if you give a child compliments, they will become conceited. Story 28. I should have been more active in school activities. Now that I am done studying, I kind of miss the whole experience. Story 29. Not noticing the signs at the beginning that my ex-wife would dim my light over the course of 20 years. Story 30. Letting people impact my life so much, especially family. I don't think I handled things terribly, but I should have listened to myself a little more. Story 31. Not ending that relationship sooner. Not leaving on my own sooner. Not keeping that job while pursuing my artistic interests. Being broke and older while working a difficult job is challenging right now. Story 32. Smoking marijuana in a country where it is illegal can lead to negative consequences, such as difficulty finding employment, as people may assume you are a criminal. However, I did not disturb anyone while I was smoking. I was just relaxing, yet I still faced repercussions. Story 33. My biggest regret was not taking school seriously. When I was in middle school, I would fool around and never do my work, thinking that the grade point average system was just a way to scare us and that grades didn't really matter. I received a wake-up call in high school when I found myself in all the lower-level classes while all my friends were in the higher-level classes. Story 34. There is one small regret. When I studied in Nijmegen, Netherlands, I was asked twice to join a rugby team by a fellow student. I did not participate and I still feel sorry about it. I had the physique to be a good lock. Story 35. I regret not going to Hong Kong when I had the chance about 20 years ago, not choosing the right college major, not asking out that volleyball player in high school, and not buying Bitcoin in 2010. Story 36. Caring too much about the opinions of others. I am in my mid-30s now and I just can't care. Story 37. Recently, I separated from my wife, who I genuinely still consider the ultimate love of my life. I suppose that's it, losing her and making mistakes in my marriage. Perhaps I am too harsh on myself, as no one reading this knows everything that happened. But now, a month later, I feel the regret. Story 38. Not taking a gap year after high school, my parents forced me to go to college immediately, and I had no idea what I was doing there. I never finished. Story 39. I have one regret, and that is ghosting a guy who truly loved me and leaving him stranded without an explanation. I hate that I did that, but now I have apologized and we are best friends, or maybe more than that. Who knows? Story 40. I spent many years in my career believing it was my calling when, in reality, it was motivated by guilt and a quest for forgiveness. My fiancé from college chose to end his life, and I dedicated 20 years to the mental health field due to the immense guilt over his death. Additionally, I remained in a toxic relationship far too long, despite knowing I deserved better. I am currently happily single and working for a company that brings me joy. Story 41. Not investing in cryptocurrency early on has affected my financial situation. I want to improve my circumstances and not work for the rest of my life. Story 42. That I never fought harder to study abroad. When I was in university, my department sponsored a trip to study in the French countryside for a semester in Lacoste. The cost was the same as my regular tuition, with only the flight to and from France being an additional expense. I wanted to get a job during school to save up for my passport, tickets, and other necessities, as we had been informed a year in advance. However, my family was extremely strict and refused my request, saying it would interfere with my studies. They also declined to help, insisting, "We have everything we need here in the US. Why do you want to go elsewhere?" They threatened to withdraw their small monthly allowance for food if I continued to push the matter. I worked over 60 hours every week during summer and winter breaks at my seasonal restaurant job, begging for extra shifts to try to earn enough. Ultimately, it was not sufficient, and while my family criticized my efforts as a waste of time, nearly everyone in my department, including professors, attended the trip. I had to take a semester off classes that I would eventually need but wanted to spread out since no one was available to teach my focus. I listened as my friends and classmates talked about how life-changing it was, sharing pictures and videos from the moment they landed until months after their return. I'm glad they had the opportunity to go, but over a decade later, it remains my biggest regret. I often think about it and still feel a lot of resentment towards my family for not even allowing me the chance to try to go. Story 43. I blamed myself for my problems in life. It took me a long time to recognize the shortcomings of those around me, and even longer to understand how they contributed to some of the biggest challenges I faced. Story 44. Wasting my talents. I am someone who, when I apply myself, can do most anything. I can and have fixed cars, electronics, built a house, worked with metal, and worked with wood when I put my mind to it. My main issue is that my mind wants to just watch television and sit around rather than make something of myself. So, I work for a company and end up wasting all my free time rather than doing my own thing. I am figuring it out now, but I am already later in life, so it is hard not to feel like I have wasted my golden years and could be retiring soon if I had just tried. Story 45. Always focusing on having a partner instead of traveling or considering what type of career I truly wanted. Story 46. I have wasted my energy seeking a sense of belonging with my family, only to be hurt by those I cared about. I am now focusing on building my own family tree and no longer wasting my energy on others. Story 47. In 1989, someone attacked me, and I stabbed them, ending up with a felony. I was placed on probation with no jail time, but what I regret isn't stabbing him. It's that I didn't just kill him and dispose of the body. The felony prevented me from obtaining high-paying jobs, and I believe some people I cared about would still be alive or have had better lives in general. The person was, and still is, terrible. I am certain I would have gotten away with it. But I wasn't even thinking about that. I just wanted him to leave me alone. The more reasonable regret, of course, is wishing I had not talked to the police at all. I don't know what you are talking about. Kids, don't talk to the police. Also, don't kill people. Running away is smart and brave. Everyone fears being called a coward. Just run away. But I still wish I had just killed him. Story 48. When I started comparing myself, it was something that could not be easily stopped, even with the help of a therapist. Story 49. I was not with my dog when she passed away. It is difficult for me to write about it. I should have held her. I was too afraid to see it at the time because it would have crushed me. but I wish I could go back and be stronger for her. She deserved that. I regret it more than words can express. Story 50. Trusting the wrong people and allowing myself to be influenced by those who did not have a good vibe was a mistake. I would not let such individuals around me now for anything, neither for money, friendship, nor family. I also regret not doing more for my education, but I do not judge myself too harshly in that regard, as there is always room for improvement. Story 51. Ugh. Where do I start? I wish I had been diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder sooner. It played a pivotal role in my childhood and teenage years, leading to serious confidence and self-esteem issues. I was told I was depressed and prescribed antidepressants, which I believe made my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder much worse. Story 52. I did not take care of my body from the beginning. In addition, I have only recently understood the importance of work-life balance at the age of 38. Story 53. Not having spent more time with family and friends while they were still alive is a common regret. No matter how much quality time you spend with them, you may still regret not giving more of yourself, despite doing your best at the time. That's just how it goes, I guess. You will inevitably lose people you love and value at some point. To avoid unnecessary heartache, make an effort to visit them, talk to them, go places together, and express how much they mean to you as often as you can. It will help you find peace when they are no longer with you. On a hike with friends in Wyoming over 20 years ago, someone left a small handwritten note in my backpack that read, "The greatest gift you can give others is your undivided attention and time." I never figured out who put it there, but those words have stuck with me ever since. Make the most of every moment you have. Story 54. I have not finished my IT qualification and left after a year to attend university for a different subject to follow a boyfriend, which I realized was not a good decision. I never knew what I wanted to do as a job, but now I do, and I do not have the full qualifications to take advantage of it. So, I continue in the job I have and love it, even though the pay is low. Story 55. Spending more time with my dad before he passed away, and not exploring other sexual or romantic orientations. Story 56. Letting the men in my life interfere with some of the jobs I had is still affecting my life. Story 57. Not saving all the Reddit conversations or taking screenshots of them means I cannot provide proof of what I am discussing. Story 58. Not caring in high school. Sure, some things weren't entirely my fault, but getting motivated for my future rested solely on me. Story 59. Having sex for the first time at 13 led to an addiction, resulting in far too many partners by the age of 16. My hypersexuality was due to trauma, and using drugs during that time only made it worse. I am completely different now, and it makes me sick to my stomach to know that this was my past. I was a child, and it's disturbing that I allowed this to happen to myself. When people ask hypothetically what I would change if I could go back in time, I would typically say nothing. However, I would ensure that I did not engage in sexual activity until I truly knew and loved the person. I feel disappointed and disgusted with myself every day. Story 62 are about equal. I should have pursued a psychology or counseling degree instead of the history degree I have. The other issue is relatively minor. I wish I had come out to myself and then to my dad before he passed away. He and my mom used to discuss whether I was gay or not. The answer to that is sort of, I'm bisexual. Story 61. 10 years ago, not investing in a high-quality ice cream machine for home use meant that store brands were often loaded with excessive sugar and unnecessary ingredients. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.